Okay. So, one thing I've noticed is that there's still some people that don't appreciate what I do because it's kind of like unlocking certain things for them, and whether or not they want me to pick up on certain things, I do. However, I'm not the only person that's capable of doing these sort of things, like picking up on energy and reading and stuff like that. It's not unheard of. It's not unusual. Um, what I've learned is that when people do start coming at me in a certain way, like if whatever insecurities are having them act in a certain manner, and they start coming towards me or doing something to, let's say, sabotage or whatever, just petty stuff, right? The moment they start doing that stuff, if it triggers me enough, it just heightens my gifts even more. And what it does is when their energy has penetrated mine, when they've come into my space or they have done something to like literally get in my bubble, that allows me access to them. Okay? So I don't know if this makes sense to a person, but the more a person comes at me or attacks me, like it doesn't have to be bad. It could be pleasantries too when I'm in a general area of somebody, but it's not nearly as detailed. But the moment I feel threatened, when they're doing or saying a certain thing, if they're purposely coming at me, it's like it's a self-defense mechanism. It's literally it's like ingrained in my DNA. It's a self-defense mechanism. It's something especially that I was learning very young on my own, because I wasn't given specific information, because I wasn't always sure of my surroundings, because I didn't always feel safe. So I felt the need to constantly be super aware of my surroundings, and especially energies, or what gave me the tips and the hints to whether or not I was okay. So I would pick up on energies and I'd be super sensitive, and that allowed me to kind of monitor my surroundings. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like a gauge. And when I picked up on heightened things, or I picked up on certain, I was never good with facial gestures, body language, but I went based off of like the vibrational frequency of a person before they even moved an arm or anything like that. And I learned that very early, and it is a self-defense mechanism. And so because that is already installed in me, especially young, as a way of protecting myself when it comes to other people around me in my life now, with other adults and stuff like that, if specific group or certain people start attacking me, it allows me almost full access to their, I wouldn't say Akashic record, but like to their energetic past, how things could have played out, almost like a chess game too. There's different ways that things could go, but like I get in my mind's eye different views on each person that's coming at me, and especially when I feel threatened, I get even more information. So I would highly suggest that if you're going to hang out with me or something like that, it's going to be in a good nature, calm setting, because I am not able to tap in like that. I don't want to. I'm not nosy like that. I don't give a fuck what you got going on unless you want to talk to me about it. Obviously, I do these videos to help people manage and get through certain things, especially trauma, but if you don't want to talk about it, I don't necessarily tap in, and not for anything bad, like super heavy secrets. But the moment I feel threatened, that's a whole other story. I'm able to get right in there and get down to every freaking detail, like the nitty gritty stuff, and pull out what I need to extract to create whatever it is to protect myself. So I know what moves you're going to make next based off of your trauma, if that makes sense. I don't know if this is a bad thing, but I don't use it with malintent. I don't use it against anybody unless I feel like they are literally, like when I had death threats or whatever. That's going to put me on high alert. Was I really bothered by it? No, because I have a different way of looking at things now. Most people would be frightened. They'd be scared or something like that if they had death threats. But me, on the other hand, I just like automatically tune in, and I'm super hypersensitive, and I pick up on everything: cues, signs, synchronicities, energetic frequencies, person's body language. Everything just like gets on, goes up high, very, very fucking high. And so, yeah, I'm not the only person this is a thing with. Okay, other people have developed certain skills. Not necessarily, you don't have to be autistic or on the spectrum, but other people have developed certain skills to allow them to adapt to their surroundings so that they have created a space for themselves that is safe. And there's certain gifts and abilities that they've tapped into, or that they've unlocked, or that they've practiced, and they've done so that they are safe, so that they feel safe. And most of it, comes down to the energies too, because energies don't lie. Now, when it comes to masculine and feminine energies, they can be confused because there could be 4 people in the house, and let's say the masculine's carrying some of the feminine. He's more feminine than the feminine herself, doing dishes or whatever, but she's carrying, like, wearing the pants, so to speak. That could be read a certain way, so that's really, really crucial too when it comes to reading energies as well. Knowing the fact that people carry both masculine and feminine, and which one are they dominant in, or are they in a balanced mode, is very important. And even when it comes to certain things like tools that people use for cards and stuff like that, I completely respect the community for that, because that's a community itself that has helped me. I want to thank every single person that's ever helped me from that community, whether you be a medium, a reader, for tarot, or anything like that. Anything that you've helped me with that goes beyond what most people consider normal and stuff like that in this reality that we're currently in right now, because I've needed guidance, I've needed help, and I haven't had any of that really physically in front of me in the 3D. I haven't had anybody guiding me, telling me what steps to take, really. So I've looked to that community. I've looked to that community for help. And whoever is willing to reach out or lend out a hand, or even just give a nice comment or something like that, because I don't have too much else to go off of. Not that I need it, but it's nice. It is nice. So yeah, I thought that was very important. I'm not the only person that can do this. And so if anybody else felt that this gift itself, being able to almost like not like a cop or nothing, I guess you could make fun of it. You could call that sort of gift like make fun of them, like they're a snitch or a rat too. Now there's good snitches and good rats, because that's what the fuck the whistleblowers. If it wasn't for the fucking whistleblowers, you guys would be even more worse off than you are now, because of the fact that they would have you even more brainwashed and indoctrinated and all that bull crap, and you wouldn't have stuff leaking out. So how could you know? Because if you were born and raised a certain way and you were never divulged certain information, how the fuck are you supposed to know the difference, right? Unless you're going out of your way to teach yourself and learn, which people do as well. Anyways, yeah, it's not a threat unless those individuals, such as myself, are being threatened. That's really the only thing I can say about that. It's really interesting though, because now that I'm fully tapped in, when I meet new people or I talk to people, and the readings that I get off them, it's really fun to learn about their characters and what energies they carry and what sort of quirks or gifts they have maybe and stuff like that. And like I said, I don't really tap into any of their darker stuff. There may be little bits I pick up here and there, but it's a surface. I don't go deep into it. But the moment, let's say somebody picks up something and threatens to hit me with it, or they say something that's a little bit off, something that's a red flag or whatever, and then automatically I switch on, even more so than I already am, and I just start analyzing every little bit, and I go in there and I just kind of uncover things. And I've been doing that with people around me because they've been giving me a hard time. People have not been respectful of me. They have not been kind, some of them. And they have been purposefully sabotaging certain things or doing things to agitate or get a reaction out of me, which is not helping at all. And it's given me some real insight into what's going on in my neighborhood and the city and some other things. And it just keeps getting more and more elaborate, the stuff that I'm uncovering, even so much as the banks and the people I've been dealing with and certain things that I've caught on to that I've had to point out that were sketchy as, literally, this is, how are people not seeing this is illegal and stuff like that, those sort of things. And it's yeah, but it's only because I was being pinned in a corner or put in a situation, or I noticed something that wasn't right, like getting a receipt. When I left my old company of 10 years, I took my funds from the insurance company, right? And I had them sent over. It was actually a retirement fund, not insurance, retirement fund, okay? And I had them sent over to my bank specifically, and I signed on the papers saying that I'm not going to carry on with them, I'm not going to whatever, and just to transfer the funds over. And if you're transferring funds, there should not be any tax receipt. Just to let you know, if you stop working for a company and you take all your retirement savings, there's locked in and not locked in and voluntary, and you send it over to a bank or whatever facility, if it's a voluntary movement of the funds and stuff like that, there should not be a tax receipt. Because if you collect the money or whatever refund they give you for that, and then later on they come back and say, hey, that actually isn't your money, you owe us money, that's not okay. You will get pinged for that. You will be penalized for it because you're accepting money that's not technically yours. So I had to question them, and I had to give that tax receipt back to them, and I had to say what's going on here, and they had to talk to the actual government and sort that all out, and they told me it was a mistake and that I shouldn't have gotten that tax receipt for that amount of money, a large sum of money transferred over. There should be no tax receipt for that. It's just transferring of funds. Just to give you a heads up on that one. That was a little sketchy. And also, if you're trying to sign up for a loan, let's say you need $5,000 for a car or something, they say that you have to sacrifice your own credit, or you have to close your credit card, or any of that stuff. You have to give up anything you've worked for and accumulated just in order to get a certain amount. Don't put yourself in that situation. Don't do it. Find another way, because they're scamming you out of it, and they're putting you in a worse situation than you were before, because I was also in that position as well. The amount of money I have in the bank that's good that they hold on to is worth way more than what I was asking for a small loan or something. I think this was back in the day to help me out for a car, and they wanted me to forfeit my line of credit, my credit card, and put a limit or something like that on it. All of that just to sign off for the small amount of money, which is well beyond covered compared to what I already have sitting in there. So that's sketchy too. So there's a few things that have been going on, and I'm like, if this is being done on a wide scale, first of all, people are struggling to begin with, and you're putting people in a very, very awkward position, having to strip them of everything they've accumulated, especially credit, when everything's running on fucking credit. And then when it comes to the whole tax and bullshit and all that, and doing little sneaky things like that they can try to turn around and claim back later or ping you with later, be very, very cautious. Ask questions if you're not sure. I'm learning still about so many things and the way things are going in my own city and my bank and stuff like that. And if you're not sure, even when it comes to your car and stuff, ask questions. And if you're feeling scared of certain individuals that have certain gifts, like readers or whatever, and you feel threatened by them, like they're going to know all my secrets, well, first of all, there really are no secrets. The only secret you're keeping within yourself is whatever pain you're carrying, whatever you're holding on to that you haven't taken a look at yet, and whatever healing you haven't done. Because if you were healed from it, you understood that and where the pain's coming from, and you fully took a look at it, then it being out in the open, there would be no shame. There's no need to be ashamed of things that happen to you, especially if it was out of your control. Now, when it comes to you doing bad things, if you did some bad things and you don't want people to know about it, well, that's on you. But hating on another person for their ability to read, especially on energies and stuff like that, and feeling threatened on them when they probably don't even give two shits about it. They probably already know. They just don't care. Hating on them for that is like demonizing and ostracizing them for a gift they were born with. Which you have gifts you were born with too. Just imagine being treated like you were a certain way, like you didn't fucking belong because of something you were born with. So, yeah. Think twice, ask questions, okay? It's very important, especially right now.